everybody, it's CraftyRia. I'm back again to do some recycled Christmas cards, and this time instead of just showing you the finished card, I'm going to go ahead and actually recycle them with you here on camera. So what I did was go through my box of cards, and I picked a whole bunch of cards that I thought I might like to recycle. The basic card base that I use is 5.5 by 4 1/4. That is just one sheet of regular white cardstock scored down the middle and cut in half. It's nothing fancy. You can buy these packs of cardstock at Walmart in the office supply section. I think they're Georgia Pacific or one of those. So if you don't need anything fancy, this is just regular white cardstock, folded in half and cut in half. These fit into a regular A2 size envelope, and those are readily available at the office supply store or at a craft store. I bought this value pack at Joann's. Okay, I'm sure you can hear my bird whistling. He's a little crazy. So since I already have those envelopes, and the card bases are really easy to make, I picked some cards that I thought would go well on that size, even though some of them are obviously much bigger. So what I did was, normally I take them, open it up, put this card behind it, and hold it up to the light to see what it would look like. But it's hard to show that on video, so I went ahead and made a template. This was just from a piece of a sticker background, and I traced the card with my permanent marker, and then I did a border of 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch and then 1/4 of an inch, because sometimes I like to matte the picture. You'll see what I mean as we get going. For example, here's one that's matted in orange and then matted in silver. So I wanted to get an idea of what it would look like if it was larger on the card or smaller. So for example, we have this card, and this picture would look perfectly fine on cut down smaller. You wouldn't really lose much of the image at all. So I thought that would be good. And another example would be this one here. You would lose a little bit of the side of the Christmas tree and maybe that light, but that doesn't take away from the picture, and you really wouldn't lose any of the height. You would lose the Merry Christmas, but that's okay. And then the same thing with the Santa. You wouldn't lose any of the width, but you might lose some of this empty space down here for the beard, and then some empty space up there. And then like this one here, you could cut that one package off and use the rest of this, and even keep the greeting that says Season's Greetings. And again, with this one, you'd have the main image. You'd have to do away with the Let It Snow part at the bottom, possibly. Maybe not if you don't mat it at all. I'll have to play with that one and see. But anyway, you get the idea. So that's what I kind of did with this stack of cards. Obviously, I'm not going to get through all of them on this video. Excuse me. But I will get through some of them for you. And I made myself a whole bunch of card bases, so I'd have enough so I wouldn't have to stop and do that during the video. So let's go ahead and start with this blue one. And I think I want to keep as many of these trees over here as I can, but not as much of this. This to me is just blank space here. And it has this really neat silver border at the bottom, which I'm going to have to cut off, but I have some ideas to replace a border. I think it goes really well with silver, and I have some gorgeous silver ribbon. So I have over to the side, I have my drawers full of scrap paper, and down here I have bling, and I have ribbon. I have more ribbon. I have stickers. I have all kinds of stuff. So I'm ready with all kinds of embellishments for these cards. Most of these things are available at the Dollar Tree or at your craft store, or if you're a crafter, you may already have them in your stash. So for this card, I'm just gonna eyeball it. I'm gonna get an idea. I want just a little bit. I don't want the deer, you know, too close to the edge, but I think I'm gonna just kind of start by cutting it there. So I'm gonna move this in. I can't see what you see, so I hope you can see this. Let me check real quick. Yeah, I think you can see. All right. I have a very primitive setup, so please pardon if you can't see. So what I do, first I'm going to cut off this very edge here, just to cut the back off the card, essentially. And then I don't throw this away. I'm going to use this for the inside. All right. So now when I eyeballed this, I decided I think I might want to mat it on silver, but I'm going to go with just 1/4 of an inch smaller, so it's going to be 5 1/4 by 4. If I want to mat it, I can do so, but so I think I'm going to just eyeball. I want to kind of cut it to be like right around there, right at the edge of that water. And then that's going to bring me, yeah, I think that's going to be really good. So for the bottom, or how about for the top, I'm going to go right maybe just above the top of these 2 trees. And like I said, I'm just kind of eyeballing just to get an idea. It's not an exact science. It's recycled, it's handmade. It took me a long time to get used to just letting it happen. All right, so I'm going to cut this down to 5 1/4. And then this part I'm going to cut down to 4. And then I'm looking here as well, just to make sure I'm not cutting off anything vital to the picture. So there we go. I'm going to set these aside because I might actually use those. And let me grab this card. So then you can see that is with 1/4 of an inch off. That gives you an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And that I at least like to have that. I'm going to turn that over only because this side's longer. It's hard to explain, but that side's longer. So I'm going to leave it like that. Now I may want to mat that on something. Let me grab my ribbon. These are ribbons from the Dollar Tree. And I do love, love, love. I liked the way the card looked with this on the bottom. And I thought, I have this ribbon. If I put this ribbon here, I'm not going to mat anything else on it. I also have all of these tapes. These are adhesive glitter tapes. So this is kind of what I go through every time I make a card. So I could do that, but I think, I don't know if you can see on camera, the trees have more of a rainbow of colors in them. They're not plain white. It's like holographic almost. So I don't think the plain white does it justice. That's too similar. I have this silver one, which is narrower. I've never opened it. It's a shame I have so many craft supplies and I've never used most of them. So let me try this. I think I kind of like that because it does remind me of the way the silver looked at the bottom. But I think this is much brighter and prettier. I like it a lot better, and I don't see another color that I have that I like any better than that silver. All right, let me move some of this stuff out of the way. Normally when I'm crafting, it's like everything's blown up all over my desk. So I'm trying to stay neat on camera. So I'm going to cut this just a little bit bigger than the card. All right, I'm going to put this on here before I put it on the card. This one's going to be pretty simple. And my dog's out there going crazy. I think he's trying to eat the bird. All right, so I'm just going to put it on there. I do like to keep a little bit of that blue border at the bottom. And then I'm just going to trim off the extra. And then I'll throw that away. All right, so I do like that, although it's not straight. I don't know if I can make it straight now. I don't know how strong this is. Oh, it comes off pretty easy. I don't know if I was crooked or if the card is crooked or if the tape is crooked. There we go. I think that's a little better. Maybe it's the same. I don't know. All right, there we go. So I have that. I have this thing. My dog's crazy. I'm sorry. If you can hear him. That's the story of my life, are these dogs. I have all these snowflakes. And I thought I could add a couple. That's the snowflakes in blue. I definitely like it better in silver. It's actually these. Got them at the Dollar Tree. This is the clear, and they also come in blue. I might just put one there so we don't overwhelm the page. Okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and mount that to the card. This one's pretty simple. It didn't take very long. Okay. And if you've seen in my other videos, I usually try to line up a corner. And then if you have this side and this lined up into this corner, the rest of the card should line up right along with it. And then these already have some sticky back on them. And the paper is a little hard to get off without ruining the manicure. There we go. I'm very hard on my nails. And then I'll put this. There we go. And that, I think, is it. I'm just going to leave it like that. I think it's very pretty. The card already had a lot of embellishing on it, so I don't think it needed a whole lot more. So I want to do the inside. I'm going to take this and see. It's kind of wide, but I think I can do it. I try to use the inside of the same card. And I'm just going to cut out this sentiment. Now, if this had pretty colors or anything on the back, I would save it. It's just white, so I'm just going to pitch it because I have so much white scraps already. If you don't have a lot of white scraps, they're really nice for stamping on. Okay, so then I'm going to see if it would fit on here to mat it. It will if I squeeze it. So I'm going to go right up to the edge of the word. Trying to bring this in frame so you can see. That way I made it as narrow as I could, so that way I could mat it on here, and then the inside of the card matches. I'm going to cut off that silver piece there. And then that just recycles even more of the card. Less waste for the landfill. And it matches. So I think that is really good. And this was a Hallmark, but now it's a Hallmark by Ria. Hallmark Ria. A Ria mark. I don't know. Give me a name. Okay. We have that, and it's still, okay, good. I was afraid it wasn't going to fit. I didn't measure. And then for cards that I don't have a sentiment for, I do have this stamp. It says, "May all the joys of the season be yours." I think I got it at Big Lots for like 69 cents. It's just a nice wooden stamp. There's the information. I don't know if it's available. I've had it for many, many years. But I thought that goes with just about every type of card that would fit. And then I stamped the back of them with this, "Handmade especially for you" by Ria. I ordered that online, and there's the information. paperangel.com. I don't know if they're still available, but I do know someone that does make personalized stamps, and I could put the link in the comments below, or in the description. Anyway, there we go. We have that. And I'll set that aside. And then let's see. Let's try some Christmas presents. And I decided before that I think I will cut off this present. Now, normally when I'm cutting something, I like to leave part of it there. I don't always like to have white space. If you're a crafter and you're making a background and you're stamping something, you don't want a whole white border. But because this card is going to have a white border here and not a portion of a present, I'm going to go ahead and make it even on that side and cut that off, just so it's the same on both sides, rather than leave a portion of a present, because then it will look like the card was cut off, if that makes any sense. All right, so I'm going to bring this over, and I'm going to cut off, I guess you could say, the spine of the card. And I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to start by cutting right between those two presents. And this could be made into a tag, so I'm going to save it. It could be made into a gift tag. It's actually kind of cute. Probably just to cut it and put a ribbon on there and make a gift tag. So then I know in this dimension I want it to be 5 1/4. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. So I'm cutting off of this side, measure it at 5 1/4, and then that's what I have. Now with this though, I think I'm going to go in even further, because I want to mat it on something, because it's going to be too plain just on the white card. I can't have that. So I'm going to bring it in a little bit, another 1/4 of an inch probably. So I'm going to bring it into 5. And then this way, it's going to be 3 3/4. I believe, if I can get that on there. Let me see. Oops. Helps if I turn it the right way. Yeah, I should be able to get that. So I'm going to cut to the bottom of those a little bit and see where we're at. And if I go to 3 3/4, that's kind of what I'm left with. So then I want to decide if I want to even go a little bit in further to make it look more even, as far as there's a lot of room on this side of the thing, and then there's a partial star up there. So I'm going to come in just a sliver more on this side to make the gifts look a little more even. And I'm going to cut off that partial star at the top. That way it doesn't look like it's a card that was chopped all up, when in reality it was. Okay. So then I have that. Now I have to decide what I want to mat it on. If I want to mat it on gold or red or what. So let me get my scrap papers. This is just one of my drawers of paper, and I grabbed some of these because I thought this red kind of matched that red. So I could use that. That I think would look kind of cute. So I'm going to put that aside. These really should be in my, I have my solids. I just put them in my solids. Okay. Definitely does not have blue. It does have green. And that green looks kind of good too. So I'm going to set that aside. I have some gold because there's some gold foil in here too. So I'm going to set that aside. I think I'm going to go with those for now. Decide what I want to do. This, I think, takes me more time than anything, is to decide what to do. So I'll line this up and then kind of line that up to get an idea. I kind of like it. That might be, that red might be almost a little too pink. Okay, then I'm going to try this green. This is some paper I've had in my stash for a really long time. It came with a scrapbook from Big Lots, and I used it when I made the 50th wedding anniversary album. So I have these pieces sitting out, and I thought they were good Christmas colors. So I think I kind of like the green better than the red, for sure. But I'm wondering if I want to have that there and do gold on the inside of the green, just to kind of give it a little spunk. Do a really narrow outline of gold. I think that does add a bit of class to the card, so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to kind of eyeball the gold onto there, but I'll measure out the green. But first let me do the gold. So what I'll do with the gold is I will tape this into the corner like that and then cut the other two sides rather than measure, because, you know, nobody really likes to measure. Because I did cut an extra sliver off of each side, so I do have room on here to do this. All right, so we got that on there. I'm going to cut this big side off first because it'll leave me a bigger scrap in one direction. Okay. And the gold paper is pretty thin, so I'd like to have it onto this so it has something a little more sturdy. Let me see what I have on here. Let me see. Yeah, I think I could still go with 5 1/4 by 4. I'm going to have to make it a little bigger than 5 1/4 and a little bigger than 4. in order for it to work on here. Okay. I'm going to go with 4 this way. So the card itself is 4 1/4, so I'm going to kind of go with not quite 4 1/8, but maybe 4 1/16. And then a little more than 5 1/4. Whatever 5 1/4 plus 1/16 is. Okay. I just want to double check. Yep, that does make a really good size mat. And the green is still smaller than the white. There we go. Like my technical stuff. They do make, We Are Memory Keepers makes these rulers that does all of this measuring for you. I've kind of eyed them. I've had them on and off my Amazon wish list. I'm not sure if I want them, if I think they would be good, since I do a lot of matting. And I think they take the guesswork out of it. However, I don't know if they're that useful to spend the money on when I can just eyeball it. So it's just something I have to think about. Whoops, I'm throwing things around. I always make sure my card opens the right way. I have glued things on to a card upside down before, and then it's a pain to take it off. All right. Might be a little crooked. It's hard to see at this angle, actually. So anyway, there you have that. That's kind of empty up there, but I don't have a star. I don't really have anything to put there that I can think of. I'll have to look at my stuff later and maybe add something to that. And then I could do the inside. Same way I did the other inside. And if you don't have a fancy paper cutter and you don't have a lot of crafting supplies and you still want to recycle your cards, you can use, you know, you can just use scissors, or you can use a ruler and a cutting mat. If you have a cutting mat like this, you can use a ruler and a cutting mat and a knife and cut. Or when I was on a contract in Naples, I was in a condo, and I didn't have any craft supplies with me because I flew down. So I used an X-Acto knife and a cutting board from the kitchen, and I cut my stuff. So use what you have, make it work. I don't want to cut a whole piece of gold just for the inside, so I'll go ahead and I'll use that scrap of green. I got a lot of things at the Dollar Tree, and I left them there in the condo for the next people if they wanted them, because I had to make a few cards. You know, I can't go without. But the cutting board really came in handy because I didn't have my paper trimmer with me. So they had a ruler there, I think. Or I may have gotten a ruler for $1. I don't remember. So I put this on crooked, and I'll show you what I do. I have my bone folder, and I use it to work up under the paper to get the adhesive off rather than peeling them apart, because your paper will bend and tear that way. This way, most of the time, it does not bend or tear. It's kind of a good trick. All right. So use what you have. I just happen to have some fancy tools, but you don't need fancy tools to recycle Christmas cards. You don't even need old cards to recycle Christmas cards. You can take new cards and go to the Dollar Tree and buy some of these stickers like this and just stick them on the front or add some ribbon to them or something like that. You don't have to have I have my hair in it. You don't have to have a lot of crafting supplies to I think I'm going to put that right there, to recycle cards, because they're gifts, and then that's a bow. There you go. So there you go. There's another card. Done. Let me see. I might do, how about one more? I don't want to make the video too long. I can always make more videos. And then, oh, if this was alive, I'd ask you which one you want. How about this guy? Or how about this? Because this one's going to be a little trickier. This Let It Snow. Since I have to do a little more figuring because of this. All right, let's see. Let me get my glitzy papers and see. I have this. I might actually go with that. Let's see. I don't know if this, what's that? That's not going to be big enough. That's pretty too. I got these papers from the Dollar Tree, and they're really thin. I love them for cards because they don't add a lot of weight to the card. They're really thin, so they're not really good for a lot of other things, but they're great for cards. But I think I really like the way that looks. I have these. I got these as some free samples in the mail, but I don't know how I would attach it very well to the card since they're plastic. I haven't tried it yet. And that piece isn't big enough. Okay, I think I'm going to see what I can get with that blue. What did I do with my thing? Here's my thing. All right, so let me cut the spine off the card. And I'm not going to be able to use this sentiment because I'm not going to be able to cut the writing off without cutting the bottom of the letters off. So I'm not going to be able to use that sentiment, but that's okay because I have other sentiments and I also have that stamp that I could stamp the inside. All right. So I know I'm going to want to cut this close to the top, and then I'll see where I'm at for the bottom. I'm going to get as close to the top there as I can, and this is how you can do it really without measuring much. And then I'm going to need to get as close in this way and this way as I can. Without chopping off any of the picture. So let me get one of these. That doesn't leave a lot of room for matting it with that, so I might not mat it with that. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 4 and see where I'm at with those words. So I have some of the words cut off and some of the words on. But that is the right size for matting. Let's see. I could bring it right up to that, but it's still gonna have let it snow. I don't necessarily want to cut the bottom of that off. And I could bring in each side a little bit to mat it on here. Have a little bit of that show. Let me see. I do like that. I like the way that looks a lot. Let me see if I can get 1/4 of an inch off. 1/4 of an inch more off. So this one here, I'm at 5 1/4. No, I'm a little bigger than 5 1/4. See if I can come right up to there. And I'll get as close as I can to this side. I'm not worried about measurements. All right, and I'm going to come right up to the very top of this. And take a little bit more off this bottom. And before I take off any more of the card, I want to see about adding this. I want to add this to the bottom as snow over the let it snow words. And then it doesn't look so bad. Trying to think if I cut. I'm gonna cut up to that. So then I have just a little bit left at the bottom of there and there. I'm trying to decide what to do. Then I'll have it on this. I think that's what I'll do. Okay. So I'm going to trim this down a little bit. So I'm going to trim this to about 5 1/4, maybe a little bigger than 5 1/4 by a tad bigger than 4. I have to make it smaller on this side. Okay. Because I want the white border around that to be about the same size all the way around. Okay, so then I'm just going to work with this. I do like the way that looks. I'm going to position this toward the top so there's a little extra room on the bottom. And that's where this is going to come into play. I will put that across the bottom. Okay, I think that's what I'll do. See, so it doesn't always have to be perfect. There's always a way to make it work. And like I said, I want to have it up towards the top more so than the bottom to leave room for this tape. I don't remember where I got these glitter tapes. I've had them for a really, really long time. I'm surprised I still have some that I've never opened. Sorry if you can see my head. It's hard to line things up without being right over it. Okay. Got that. Cut this. The good thing about crafting videos is that you don't have to see my face. I like that. All right. There we go. I like the way that looks. That just kind of adds a little bit of spunk to that card and a little bit of movement. And then the bottom, this on the bottom hides those words, but yet it looks like snow. The good thing you can't see me stick my tongue out while I'm measuring these things. Okay, so there we have that. And then I have some more of those. I have that. I don't know if I have any more left in blue. I do have some blue. I think I'll put the blue one on there. This doesn't want to come off. I do have a poker thing. I don't know where it is right now. And the whole thing came off. So what happens then is I get my trusty tacky glue. I keep this stored upside down. Otherwise it takes forever for the glue to get up to the front. And then I just put a dot of it on here. All right, there we go. I think that came out really cute. Of course, I love the dogs, so that's really neat. Then I can stamp the middle. Let me pick one. I have this light blue, I think would look good. I also have a darker blue. These I just had handy. I have a bunch of other brands of stamp pads, but these I just happen to have where I could reach them. I didn't really plan to stamp. There we go. And then the way I clean my stamps, I've actually asked for a stamp scrubber on my Christmas wish list, but I have a baby wipe inside a Ziploc bag. And then I just take my stamp and clean it off. And then I can seal the bag up and it lasts a long time. And then I'll stamp the back. And since this cardstock's not super duper thick, I don't like my stamp to bleed through to the other side. So I off stamp it once. And then I stamp it on there. So it's a little bit lighter and it doesn't bleed through. All right, so there we go. And then I can go ahead and stamp the back of these other cards as well. And I usually, what I'll do is I'll separate them out into colors. And like this one I would stamp in green, this one I'll stamp in blue, and I'll do all of my blue ones at once and all of my green ones at once, all of the red ones, that sort of thing. And that way I don't have to clean the stamp too many times between each one. And then I just take a scrap piece of paper and stamp off once, and then stamp it on there. And I have a whole bunch of these Gina K stamp pads. I have all of these colors. I got them as a prize on a blog hop. And I use them a lot, and I keep them handy. They're really good to have around. All right. Well, that's all I'm going to do for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it inspires you to recycle cards or to make your Christmas cards. If you don't recycle your cards, please do something with them. Donate them to a school or a nursing home, or give them to someone that will craft them into something new rather than just throwing the cards away, because there are so many pretty designs on cards. It really is a shame to waste them. Like I said, thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up. And please leave a comment below and let me know what you do with your Christmas cards, or if you would like to make Christmas cards, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. And please subscribe to my channel. I'll be doing more videos, and I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Once I hit 100 subscribers, we're almost halfway there, but once I hit 100, I'm going to be doing a giveaway, so you'll really want to subscribe, tell your friends about the videos, my channel, share it, whatever, so we can get up to 100 so I can give away some neat stuff. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate all of you. Bye-bye.